Not the last time you'll hear something like that. I mean, they used that joke yesterday. Just as well. Have you?
I saw that photograph. That was beautiful.
Son's photograph. Yeah, because we had a great room.
Yeah.
Right? The weather.
Awesome.
So we just had a grand old time.
Whereabouts? Oh, Daniel.
Feel free to stand right up there. Yeah, right up next to him is great. Yeah.
You know what? I haven't seen her.
Yeah.
Didn't have a lot of it. They ran a lot of ice.
You take one in the book.
Right. And I think that's why. Like, look at this photo. I mean, the rest of us will just take photos, but he's turned out really well.
Yeah. There were some skaters who were like dressed up as superheroes, and they said, "Oh, we'll take your picture." So
There were.
give us money. Give us whatever you got in your wallet.
Yeah, no, there were some.
I only saw that once. I'm pretty sure it was right in
Sounds good. The NYPD had this
Uh-oh.
meeting over there.
Tried it over there.
So we didn't have any.
Yeah, so no bugging or anything like that. Oh, that's good.
No, but we did a lot of walking around.
Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah.
no, we didn't bother.
Yeah.
You want to say Sam?
That is nice.
That's why I went.
They were saying
Billy, yeah. From over there too.
Thank you.
Really?
No.
Do you really think you're going to be able to write with your fingers?
I don't know how well.
I think my fingers are frozen.
No, so they definitely are. I'm actually, as long as we're waiting, I have to put them in my pockets.
Yeah.
You got him?
I'm just trying to.
Back of the car. It's like
Very tempting.
I'm just trying to get as close
we
as I
don't
can
need
to the
that.
podium
We're from
without being in
Western
the
New York.
I sent a
in the line
text.
of the
I
chairs.
sent a text message and I thought my fingers were going to fall out.
Doing our thing.
Right.
Doing our thing. Doesn't mean you have to like the cold.
True. I do not.
Any ETA? You got ETA or no? He's on his way, so it shouldn't be long.
From Davy?
Yeah, he did,
Yeah, my son's
So it should be good.
Yeah. It shouldn't be too bad.
No. No, I would be upfront if it was going to be that.
Yeah, because I would go get my car.
This is what you guys are looking for. Here comes a train. Perfect timing.
Yeah.
The timing is good because then it'll be gone by then.
Exactly. Here you go. Get a little shot of this.
We did plan it. Great.
Take credit. And everybody wants.
You're welcome, everyone. Everyone can get their B-roll.
Perfect for the news story. Get it out.
Time you to get the prize.
No, I to stop here, we can go on the other side.
Yeah,
Get
yeah,
back
yeah,
the way
yeah,
down.
yeah, there you go.
Let's go.
I think they'll stop. All the problems.
All of us get a B-roll for the pressure. Yeah. It's borderline nice weather for road. That's true. A little bit. Whoa.
Especially like with the lip, like right here.
I don't know if we can do it again very much. Yeah.
Yeah.
your second one.
5 minutes.
April Fools.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. All I knew of that I had was this and maybe the Leroy thing. Hopefully.
You're hiding.
Because we were just looking at, the audio visual, I was I haven't seen
Battery.
it's like stages.
Sort of like when the police, whoever that was at the one scene we were at said, it was the roundabout. They'll be shutting it down pretty soon.
Yeah, they're wrapping it up. So okay.
You'll be able to go in a few
I should know better by now, but
3 hours
the
later.
first warm day, I'm too ready for it. I put everything on it.
Man.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that one.
I'll never forget that one.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I leave, I get a phone call from Laura. Oh, they're putting it
Central
up.
air on. No, I
Nope,
guess
no,
not.
no,
No,
not
not
that.
yet.
Yep. I guess they did it to Steve Politico too. Early in the
Yeah.
morning, they said that they were
Sprayed.
putting it up at 8 a.m. He was there at 8.
Yeah. I mean,
Get it
this
up
winter
in the
wasn't
air
bad at all. I mean,
Oh, no.
it was like most of our snow was in March, felt like,
Yeah.
March felt like a long one.
Yeah. But can't complain with the rest.
Oh, the grass is greening up.
Like some of the cheapest snow
Although
charts.
I made a quick
How do you
trip
time
down
that
to
kind of
the
stuff?
city.
It's up to the workers,
Last week.
Okay, it's
And the thing is,
9:05. Time to lift it up.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Get down towards Westchester.
Yeah,
Everything
yeah.
is so much more.
Oh, I know.
Hour
Yeah.
after that
So-
ends thing again.
They really did not. It was a good decision.
For being out here.
It's like we stayed over in Kingston. Well, just someone. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like wow. Oh, we're getting moved. Okay.
All of us did.
And honestly, you could leave it on the table.
You sure?
It will pick it up. Okay.
You sure it'll pick it up all right?
Yeah.
Okay, we can just do that then.
And then if I need anything else from anyone, I'll just grab them.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
Should have put the insulated clothes in.
Right there. Like, why didn't I know that? Where did it go? Or in my
No, I didn't put that
Just the bridal man, just the utter chaos.
This is when somebody needs something.
Oh man. I think I only saw that happen once at the cemetery site. Or no, it was at industrial park where you start talking about baseball for like 10 minutes and started asking questions. Can anybody name the like the X number of players who were MVP back to back? And he started naming names. Well, there was this guy, and then in the 1940s, this guy did it. And then, yeah, of course. And then finally he was like, all right, now to the matter at hand.
Think warm thoughts. Warm thoughts.
Hi. Hi, what's your name?
Grace.
Grace.
Nice to
Where do you go to school?
St. John's.
Very good. We love St. John's. Great school. Good morning. Hi. How are you? You're always here. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Chairwoman. Yeah, good to see you. Hi.
Hi, Senator.
You always come too.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Hi, Angelo. Nice to see you. Hi, Chuck Schumer.
Hello, for Erie County, Mark says hello.
Please say hello. Thank you.
Senator Kyle Ilg, Superintendent Attica Central School District.
Okay, good. Who's starting, Chris? Me?
Our chairwoman was going to kick it off, then
great.
you, and then Brian, our emergency manager.
Great. Let me zip up here. It's cold.
I know, it's very cold.
Nice wind.
You got everybody here?
There we
With the wind,
go. Yeah.
Okay.
with the wind, we're gonna get rid of it.
I'd like to welcome everybody here to balmy Wyoming County and Attica. Spring will be coming, I'm sure. It's just the last vestige of winter here, I believe, with the wind. But I would like to first introduce the people that are here with me. Director of Emergency Services for Wyoming County, Brian Meyer. We have the Attica School Superintendent, Dr. Ilg, over there. And we have the Attica Fire Chief, Jay Meyer, is over there. And we have the...
Come on over, Chief. You're important here. Very. You may have to respond back. Yeah.
And we have the chair of the Wyoming County Democratic Committee, Cindy Appleton, is right there. And of course, I saved the best for last, Senator Schumer. He's always been a very good friend of Wyoming County, and he's been our senator for 23 years.
25.
25
well, this is
years.
the 25th year.
25 years, yes. And he's a strong supporter of Wyoming County, and he is here to speak on safety for the railroad, especially after the disaster that happened in Ohio. And with that, it's my great honor to introduce Senator Schumer.
Thank you, Becky.
Yes.
Well, thank you. And first, let me thank Becky Ryan, the chair of the Board of Supervisors here in Wyoming County. She does a great job. She's always asking for things that we can do. And then we know when we bring money to Wyoming County, it's going to be spent well, because the Board of Supervisors does a great job. I'll mention some of the things we were able to get for the county before I get into the substance of my remarks. But I want to thank Brian Myers, Brian Kale, Sarah Bonk, Jay Myers, and Kyle Ilg for all being here today. They were already introduced. I would note that here I was at this school in 2020 talking about COVID. Wow, it's windy, and it's right in my face. I was talking about COVID relief for schools all across Wyoming County, and we were able to get Wyoming County $5 million, Wyoming County schools, including $1.2 million for the Attica School District, $1.2 million for Letchworth, $1.1 million for Perry, $1.3 million for Warsaw, and $223,000 for Wyoming. That's in addition to getting relief directly to the county during COVID to help them get through the difficulties that they have had. But I was at this school a couple of years ago. But we're here on a different incident, different reason today. We've all seen the tragedy that's unfolded. Can you get is the sound okay? Okay. We've all seen the tragedy that unfolded in East Palestine, Ohio. And for many here in Western New York, unfortunately, that derailment brought back memories of what communities here in Attica have seen firsthand. Wyoming County has had 2 destructive derailments in recent years that resulted in multiple injuries, on top of horrific incidents just outside Buffalo near East Aurora. The East Aurora derailment was a near miss. The train carrying highly flammable propane crashed, and meaning that what happened in Ohio could have happened in Western New York not long ago. So people here in Western New York are justifiably nervous. We're a hub for freight rail activity across the country. 2 of the major freight lines in America go right across the Glow region. The CSX main line bisects the Glow region from Buffalo through Genesee County and eastward, hauling materials including fuel oil. And meanwhile, Norfolk Southern, the tracks right behind me right here, have had seen several destructive derailments. In 2018, a Norfolk Southern train derailed right on this track behind me, sending 2 engines and 10 cars off the rails when they both burst into flame due to diesel fuel. 2 people were injured. More than 10 fire departments and hazmat agencies responded. They did a great job. Our Wyoming County first responders always do. So thank you, Chief, and everybody else here. And then in 2020, another train derailed in Silver Springs, causing several rail cars to derail or tip over, blocking the village's railroad crossings for about 12 hours, and crews worked to clean up the wreckage. Now, thank God it wasn't as bad as in East Palestine, but it could have been. And we have to stop this. Rail safety has declined in America. Whose is this? Whose is this? Is this yours, Aiden? Well, I'm leaving. Okay, I'll put it up here. It's falling down. Rail safety has declined in America, and we've got to get it back to snuff. The disaster in Ohio should have been the canary in the coal mine, a loud warning whistle that I have long sounded on dangerous rail safety hazards which demand immediate action. That's why I'm here to say, with our first responders and our local officials, enough is enough. We need to stop this problem before it goes off the rails any further. Now, there's good news. We have bipartisan proposal that will make this happen. The Railway Safety Act of 2023, led by Sherrod Brown and J.D. Vance, one a Democrat, one a Republican, both senators from Ohio, is going to be marked up in committee, the Commerce Committee, as soon as we return after Easter. And then I am the majority leader, and by the way, thank you, Becky. This is actually my 5th term being elected New York Senator. First time ever that someone was elected 5th term. But anyway, using my power as majority leader, I determine what bills I put on the floor. As soon as this bill comes out of committee, I intend to put it on the floor of the Senate, and I expect it to pass. It has, as I said, bipartisan support, led by the 2 senators from Ohio, Brown and Vance, and the 2 senators from Pennsylvania as well. And I'm here to say that this bill is moving full steam ahead through the Senate. We should pass it in the Senate, and then I hope the House will do the same. As majority leader, I plan to serve as the conductor to move it on the fast track and get it done as quickly as I can. I'm no stranger to rail safety, as this community and others know. Years ago, I successfully pushed to get rid of the dangerous, explosion-prone DOT 111 crude oil carrier cars that ran through upstate New York. We fought the rail industry, we succeeded, and those cars are no longer on the tracks. We also got a good number of safety improvements for oil cars, better braking and better notification to first responders for oil-carrying trains in that FAST Act. But there's more to be done, as the recent derailments have shown. The bill that has real steam behind it, and let me tell you what it would do. First, enhance safety for all trains carrying hazardous materials by requiring emergency response plans and increasing the notice that local first responders have to get when a hazardous train comes through. They have to get some notice now, but the trains can have a lot of cars and they still not notice, and it can have gases they don't have to get notice, we enhance that. We also reduce the risk of wheel-bearing failures. Maybe most important, the bill would require every train to have at least 2-person crews to work aboard them. There used to be 2, you have a long, long train, as you see go through here. And you used to have at least 2 people on the crew. Now you only have 1, and 1 in the cab. Because most of the railroads have cut back. We require it to go back to 2 persons. Third, we make the rail carriers pay for their wrongdoing. We've increased the fine that DOT can issue. When they know they have to pay a big fine, they put more money into safety to avoid accidents which cause them to pay that fine. And finally, legislation to support first responders. There's going to be a fee, $1 million on each railroad every year, and that money will go to pay local responders. A county like Wyoming, a town like a village like Attica, they can't afford all of this. It's not their fault when a big train goes through. So they ought to be reimbursed for the expenses when something like this happens. So those are the 4 things the bill would do. That's not all I'm doing, though. As many of you may recall, this has been in the news lately, I am demanding answers from the railroads. And just last month, I sent them a letter with 10 questions outlining the new steps they're taking to improve communication with first responders and local governments. But I also just wrote the FRA and the National Transportation Safety Board, urging them, the FRA is the Federal Railroad Administration, urging them to audit all major freight railroads and their safety cultures or lack thereof. Why was it they were able to just reduce crews with impunity? Okay? We need answers to these questions, and I'm going to get them. But the bottom line is this bipartisan bill, which has a darn good chance of passing, will make things safer for our railroads, make things safer here in Wyoming County in western New York, one of the major railroad hubs in America. With that, who's the next speaker, Chris?
Oh, it's going to be Brian.
Brian. Brian without the tie. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Senator. Wyoming County Emergency Services supports Senator Schumer's Railway Safety Act to strengthen emergency planning within the railroad industry. Every day, train cars pass through Wyoming County that, should they become involved in an incident, can pose a significant health, safety, and environmental risk to the community. The 2018 train derailment just to the east of us highlighted some of the logistical challenges faced by first responders in responding to these incidents. The rail lines in Wyoming County pass through our county villages, past our county hospital, the 2 state correctional facilities, and schools. Each of these populations would pose a significant logistical concern should we need to evacuate those students, residents, or populations. This planning between the first responders and rail industry is vital, as the Senator said, so we better understand the chemicals and products that are being carried to ensure that we have the proper resources and equipment that we need to handle any of those incidents. I'd like to thank the Senator for supporting this and pushing this legislation, and support the members of the Senate in ensuring that this bill is passed. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for the good job you do, Chief. Okay, we're ready for questions on this subject.
It sounds like this bill has strong bipartisan support. Are you optimistic that it can get passed?
Yes, it has a very good chance of getting passed. We'll see how many votes it gets in committee. I think it's going to get most of the Democrats and most of the Republicans. In the Senate, I'm very optimistic. We'll have to see what the House does, but it also has broad bipartisan support in the House as well.
There's a line between the railroads saving money and the safety, right?
I think they've drawn the line too much in terms of saving money, including doing stock buybacks, and not enough in terms of safety. And we're readdressing that balance.
You need buy-in from the railroads on this. Tell us about the conversations you're having with those.
I met with the heads of CSX. We've talked to Norfolk Southern, and they are not enthusiastic about being required for greater safety requirements, but they understand the need, and on some of the provisions I've mentioned, they're supportive. But we are going to make sure when this law passes, they will have to do what we say, because the Federal Railroad Administration has power to do that. So when we say there have to be 2 people on every train, every large freight train, they'll have to do it. When we say they have to come up with a safety regime plan, they'll have to do it. I was successful, as I said before, in when the oil trains were having such trouble in crashes because the cars were not safe, of actually getting them to put in all new cars, not the DOT 111s. So I've had real success in forcing the railroads to be safer, and I believe that will continue.
Why aren't they enthusiastic? Is it just money?
Yeah, one of the things they did $400 million in stock buybacks. That raises the price, raises the shareholder price for, their wealthy shareholders and the CEOs. Companies' job is to make money, but our job is to make sure they're safe.
Senator, does this bill have anything to do with safety sensors that monitor these trains and any of their potential,
Yes, and the safety regime that they have to come up with sensors are part of the bill. Okay?
I have a question for Brian.
Brian.
Can you kind of tell me what your emergency plan is in Wyoming County and anything that, like,
Wyoming County has many different plans in place, including hazardous materials plans. So we do have access to rail cars when they're going through to know what's on them. But as the senator said, that pre-planning ahead of time to better understand, to make sure we have the equipment needed. So if we had an incident involving a rail car, we're first going to identify what those products are. Is there any concerns with the immediate population that we need to shelter in place or evacuate? And then what resources do we have? So our county hazmat team does have numerous resources to handle spills. And then we have other local resources in our neighboring counties or state assets that we would bring in to mitigate that situation.
Yeah, and I have a lot of faith. Let me just say this. Wait.
Are they aware something could happen here? Is there a plan in place for them?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be those plans that we'd work in conjunction with the school if we had to shelter them in place or if we had to evacuate the schools. So we would have that coordination with the schools, just like we do with all the other security, like active shooter plans and things like that.
And let me just say, first, I have a lot of faith in Wyoming County's first responders, but there are many different plans that have to be in place depending on what kind of hazardous materials are there. And that's why this law requires much changes and more stringency in defining what a hazardous material train is in terms of number of cars and what kind of materials they carry. But if it's propane, they have to have a different plan than if it's sulfuric acid or oil or something else. They do a good job. Our job is to prevent them from being needed. Our job is to prevent the derailment from occurring, so we'll never need first responders to come. Okay? Thanks, everybody, and thanks for standing out in the cold, and thanks, Attica High School. I guess we're not quite on their property, or are we? Yes, we are on the property of Attica High School, as it turns out. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, a long one.